Part 31. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 315. At 3 o'clock. Rao Shui was very happy, a kind of happiness that made her hysterical. She likes Zhou Mikang, this is an undoubted fact, she has been looking forward to, one day, can get his favor. She also knew the reason why he didn't get married, he couldn't let go of the previous relationship. Therefore, she has been waiting patiently. She knows that when a man has another woman in his heart, no matter how much effort you make, it will be useless. Then, it is better to wait. Finally, when I grew up, I never had the chance to get close to him. My sister has been in love for a long time. Looking at her happiness, she has been looking forward to her own happiness. It's not that my sister doesn't know her thoughts and has persuaded her many times. Said that Zhou Mikang is not a suitable husband candidate, if you want to marry, you must marry a man who is careful and caring. However, she just likes him, no matter how her sister persuades her, she can't let him go. For her thoughts, the family supports her. The Zhou family is in the background. The Rao family used to be able to compete with the Zhou family. They are very happy to be able to catch up with the Zhou family who are at the top. It's a pity that the Rao family's ability can no longer send Rao Shui to Zhou Mikang's side. It was not until this time that they recruited medical soldiers that she finally had a chance to come to him. She was full of joy from the bottom of her heart. Bubbles. However, when the medical team was close to him, they didn't have many chances to get close to her. The main reason was his attitude. It was cold and hard all the time, and I forcibly threw her out. So, until the recruit period is over, there was no progress between her and him. Fortunately, when he was assigned to Team A. He was a raw student. Before she could get familiar with the working environment, something happened to Zhou's family. In fact, when something happened to the Zhou family, she was very happy. She thought her chance had finally come, but she didn't know that her parents were afraid that she would go too far and locked her at home forcibly. She begged her elder sister who had the best relationship with her to let her out, and her elder sister who had always been almost responsive to her also rejected her, saying that the Zhou family was really doomed this time, and she couldn't watch her fly to the flame. If moths to the flame could get Zhou Mikang's affection, she would. It's not that she doesn't want to escape, but the guards took turns 24 hours a day, and no one would listen to her. Where could she escape? In this way, until the Zhou family's affairs ended, she was free. Parents don't think they did anything wrong. Instead, he told her that Zhou Mikang was married. Let her die that hard. And said, although I think it's good to marry the Zhou family. However, after this incident, the two sides will one day be on opposite sides of water and fire, and they don't want to become the Xiao family. The situation when the Xiao family and the Zhou family got married was similar to the current situation of the Zhou family's Rao family. He actually got married. This piece of news immediately stunned her. Why did he get married when she didn't get any news? She begged her sister to check for her, and the result was that Zhou Mikang was indeed married. Who is the bride? This was the thing she wanted to know the most after she learned that he was married. The elder sister inquired about the relationship of her future brother-in-law, and the answer she got was that Zhou Mikang married a young female soldier from the countryside, whose name she didn't know. Lin Chuxia immediately appeared in her mind. That Lin Chuxia who enlisted with her and was weaker than her. She talked with her, and she also said that she was not interested in Zhou Mikang, but why did she steal her sweetheart quietly? This fire almost drove her crazy. She returned to work, but she never waited for Zhou Mikang to show up. Until yesterday, Xiao Yuan found her. Xiao Yuan and her sister are friends. She is also aware of the grievances between the other party and the Zhou family, and based on the principle that the enemy of a lover is her own enemy, She did not give Xiaoyuan a good face. But the other party told her that as long as she does a small favor, she can get the position of Zhou Mikang's wife that she has been longing for. No matter whether she can become Zhou Mikang's wife or not in the end, it is something she is very happy to do first to get rid of the women around him. Unexpectedly, it went so smoothly. If Zhou Mikang finds out that his little wife has been played by other men, will he still like her? Will she still be allowed into Zhou's house? She believed that with the matter of Yamiru, this matter should be Zhou Mikang's most taboo. She was confident that Lin Chuxia would definitely be screwed this time. For a moment, she felt a little guilty. Speaking of which, the other party was also an ordinary little girl, and she also had the right to pursue happiness. If she was hurt like this suddenly, she probably would have no face to live on. In fact, Xiaoyuan didn't elaborate on how to treat Lin Chuxia, but she automatically made up the most cruel treatment in her mind. Calculated according to the time, Lin Chuxia should have been captured by Xiao's father and son at this time, right? Then, the corners of her mouth unconsciously grinned. Zhang Erniu and Rao Shui followed the same doctor, Wang Chunli from the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. When it was assigned to Wang Chunli, Zhang Erniu was very happy and left a message to her. As long as she could stay, she liked any department equally. Rao Shui was different. She disliked obstetrics and gynecology very much. As a nurse in obstetrics and gynecology, she did the dirtiest and most tiring work. She begged the leader to change to a teacher, but was rejected. It is also for this reason that Wang Chunli prefers the honest Zhang Erniu. However, he had to teach Rao Shui. However, it must be taught reluctantly. This time Rao Shui took nearly a month's leave, and Wang Chunli asked Zhang Erniu to teach Rao Shui what she had learned during this time. Zhang Erniu talked for a long time, and found that Rao Shui kept giggling, so she stopped and gently pushed her. Rao Shui, who recovered from being pushed, glared at her. "What are you doing? Did you understand what I said?" "Of course, you think me and you are so stupid," Rao Shui glared at her. "I gave you a needle and used it as a mallet. I'm afraid you won't be able to, and you will be punished," Zhang Erniu said with an embarrassed face. "Then let me continue." Rao Shui waved her hand. "No need, give me your notebook, and I'll understand after reading it." Zhang Erniu was afraid that Rao Shui would lose her precious notes, so she suggested, "Let me copy a new one for you." "All right." Rao Shui rolled her eyes. "By the way, do you still have contact with Lin Chuxia?" Zhang Erniu scratched her head. "I haven't seen her for a while." "Can you stop speaking your native dialect?" Rao Shui looked at her with disgust. "How long is the first day?" Zhang Erniu rolled her eyes and counted. "More than 3 months. Oh, Rao Shui responded and didn't say another word. In fact, she just wanted to find someone to talk about Chu Xia's name, so that she could feel comfortable. She wasn't afraid of the incident, she just happened to see her comrades met her, and then the two disagreed a few times, and it wasn't her who stunned her, so what's the matter with her? As for why she didn't report the case, she also said that it was the son-in-law of the Zhou family. She thought they were just family affairs and it was not easy to intervene. After thinking about it, she now hopes that the Zhou family will quickly find out what happened to Lin Chuxia, then, next, it will be her chance. Or because of this incident, Zhou Mikang won't marry her. It doesn't matter, what she can't get, can't let Lin Chuxia, who is thousands of miles worse than her, get it. What happened to Chu Xia? Zhang Erniu pushed Rao Shui. "Did you hear about Chu Xia? She is honest and not stupid." After working with Rao Shui, the person Rao Shui is most willing to discredit is Chu Xia. Even many colleagues in the military hospital now really think that Chu Xia is a bad woman who likes to seduce men. Of course she knew what Rao Shui was thinking, and she helped Chu Xia clarify behind her back. Unfortunately, the colleagues all had a good impression of Captain Zhou, so they didn't believe her words at all. A few times, she had the courage to go to the head of the group, and wanted to report the misunderstanding of Chuxia to her colleagues, but when she walked to the office, her calves were trembling, and she was scared back. Lin Chuxia. Rao Shui's voice stopped suddenly, her eyes widened, and she stared at Chuxia approaching in disbelief, as if seeing a ghost. Why are you here? Disappointed. Chuxia, Zhang Erniu held Chuxia's arm in surprise. We were talking about you just now. What about me? Noticing that half of Chuxia's face was swollen, Zhang Erniu hurriedly opened the drawer to look for medicine. Chuxia, why is your face swollen? I'll wipe it for you. No need. Chuxia stepped forward and grabbed Rao Shui. Answer me, you're disappointed to see me, aren't you? You. Rao Shui looked her up and down, frowning tightly. With the strength of the father and son, how could it be possible for her to run away? This is absolutely impossible. Then there is only one possibility. Rao Shui's eyes lit up. Lin Chuxia, why did they let you go? What do you think? Chuxia narrowed his eyes. I am a person who repays kindness and revenge, so what about you now? While speaking, she slapped her hands and bowed left and right, and Rao Shui's cheeks could be seen with her eyes. The speed swelled up. Rao Shui, who didn't expect Chuxia to come up with this trick, first covered her face in disbelief, and then rushed towards Chuxia with an awe. Unfortunately, her hand didn't reach Chuxia at all. Zhou Mikang was already standing behind her, and at this moment, he was pulling her up by the neck. Chuxia, what the hell, what's the matter? Zhang Erniu pulled Chuxia's sleeves until Zhou Mikang carried Rao Shui out, and asked such a question with her upper teeth rubbing her lower teeth. She wanted to push me into the fire pit, and I escaped by myself. Chuxia held Zhang Erniu's little hand and comforted her softly. I know, you have been speaking nice things for me all this time, I know it. I have something to do now, I'll see you another day. After speaking, he turned and walked out. Zhou Mikang was holding Rao Shui outside like a chicken, waiting for her. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 316. Rao Shui howled so loudly that the family members of the patients who were able to get away and the obstetricians and nurses who were idle ran out to watch the excitement. The commotion was so loud that Wang Chunli, who happened to come out of the patient room to see everything, no matter how much you don't like your students, you have to stand up. Comrade, if you have something to say, what are you doing? Executing official duties, Zhou Hanliang took a step forward and showed Wang Chunli his work card. Rao Shui is suspected of colluding with counter-revolutionaries to murder our comrades. Please cooperate. Wang Chunli didn't understand what the evidence was. She saw the red national emblem and immediately returned to the office. She doesn't care, and others don't care, so Rao Shui, who was dying and shouting desperately, was thrown to Zhou Hanliang by the tube leader, like throwing a broken rag, and fell on the ground. Zhou Hanliang shook his arms and picked up the rag, followed behind Zhou Mikang, and dragged away. That was Captain Zhou, right? After a while, someone in the crowd asked weakly. Yes, it's Captain Zhou, someone answered in the affirmative. I heard that Captain Zhou has a violent temper, but it looks like he really is. In fact, he is very principled. My brother is under his command. He said that Captain Zhou looks serious, and in fact he has clear rewards and punishments. Under his command, as long as he works hard and is capable, he will never be buried. Hearing what you said, I really admire the leader. Of course, don't you worship? A group of little nurses scattered around, muttering and laughing, and Zhang Erniu stood outside in a daze for a while, unable to sort out what was going on just now. Isn't Chuxia an intern? How could he arrest people with Captain Zhou? Zhang Erniu scratched her head. The more I think about it, the more confused I become. Hearing Wang Chunli calling her, she hurried back to the office. Teacher, what are your plans? Do you know what happened to Rao Shui? What Wang Chunli saw when she came out of the ward was Rao Shui being slipped outside by Zhou Mikangti. Then, being frightened by the work card with the big red national emblem on it, she quickly backed away. Now sitting in the office and thinking about it for a while, she remembered that Rao Shui had always been with Zhang Erniu. I don't know. Zhang Erniu shook her head in confusion. I don't know. Wang Chunli waved her hand. Forget it, you go to study. Yes, teacher, Zhang Erniu replied. Sit back at your desk. I stared at a page of paper for more than 10 minutes, but didn't move. Zhang Erniu. Wang Chunli frowned in displeasure. You should focus on your studies, and you don't need to worry about Rao Shui. Zhang Erniu was so frightened that she quickly regained her composure, but she made up her mind to ask Sun Shangmei immediately after get off work. She and Chu Xia are fellow villagers, so she should know more than her. Chu Xia, together with Zhou Mikang and Zhou Hanliang, brought Rao Shui to the room where Xiao and his son were imprisoned. Xiao's father and son were both handcuffed to iron chairs, sitting on each side of each chair. The image is similar to the watchdog. Rao Shui, who was still struggling all the way, immediately became honest when she saw the father and son. Zhou Hanliang tore off the cloth in her mouth. Do you still feel wronged? Rao Shui drooped her head for a while, then suddenly raised her head and stared at the father and son viciously. Didn't you say that she would never have a chance to escape? Two big men, how could you let her escape? Why are you so angry, fool? Xiao Yuan was completely hopeless at this time. He stared blankly at the ground without any reaction. Xiao Binqi also closed his eyes and remained silent. When he chose to take this step, he was ready to fail, for him. Whether he takes the step or not, the result is the same, so he might as well take a gamble. Anyway, he is already an abandoned child, and it is worthwhile to be able to give him a back when he is dying. The three people were arrested here, and the case was basically settled. I really didn't want to see the hysterical Rao Shui and the lifeless Yao and his son, so Chu Xia turned and went out. Zhou Mikang winked at Zhou Hanliang and quickly followed him out. Chu Xia was standing under a ginkgo tree with his back facing him. The midday sun shined through the branches and mottled on her body, adding a bit of warmth to his frightened and cold heart. Regardless of whether it was in the military area, he hugged her from behind. Don't do this. Chu Xia shook his body, trying to break free. It's not good for others to see. You are my wife. I'm your wife, yes, but you're wearing a military uniform. Soldiers also have feelings, and soldiers also have lovers. Zhou Mikang hugged him tighter. Afraid of being seen, Chu Xia unconsciously tensed up. You forgot your identity. No matter what your status is, you are human, and you have emotions and desires. Chu Xia, you scared me to death. Zhou Mikang didn't care about it at all. I'll talk to you when I go home tonight. Now, I'm going back to the hospital, Chu Xia said as he patted his hand lightly. If it wasn't for Yang Zili, I'm not sure what to do. I'm going back to tell her thank you, and I have to explain the reason for the disappearance to the teacher. If something happens, let's talk tonight, okay? Zhou Mikang turned her around and stared into her eyes. You don't want to avenge yourself with your own hands. Originally, it was agreed that after Rao Shui was caught, she would vent her anger on herself first. You can do better than me. Chu Xia smiled at him. The moment I woke up, a lot of things flashed through my mind, and the best plan was to escape with injuries all over my body. Zhou Mikang, thank you for allowing me to continue to live with my chest held high. Displeasure flashed in his eyes. I am your husband. Seeing someone walking this way, Chu Xia pushed him hard. Let go of me and talk carefully, otherwise, I'll ignore you. Feeling that Chu Xia was a little annoyed, Zhou Mikang stopped forcing her and let go of her hand. Okay, tell me. Chu Xia waved at him and backed away quickly. I'll go home tonight and tell you. Revenge, you can avenge me now. With my strength, I can't hurt them even if I hurt myself. It's meaningless. It's so far away from the hospital, How do you get there by yourself? Jo Mikang caught up with her in 2 or 3 steps, and grabbed her little hand. I'm going to war in a few days, do you need to hide from me like this? Chu Xia pursed her lips on purpose. I'm afraid that you love me so much that you won't be willing to leave. Jo Mikang. Because of what happened in the morning, after arriving at 401 and stopping the car, Jo Mikang said that he would send Chu Xia to Song Xiao's office before leaving. Knowing his temper, Chu Xia didn't persuade him, but said with a smile, I will go to work every day from now on. I'll make arrangements. Chu Xia was startled, and stared round with big eyes. What do you mean? You don't need to worry about it, it won't affect your life. Don't worry. Jo Mikang held her shoulders domineeringly and walked forward. I haven't seen Aunt Song for a long time, so I just went to see her. Okay. Chu Xia had no choice but to accept her fate. Originally, she didn't want others to know who she was marrying, because she didn't want everyone to reject her efforts. After this incident, she also looked away. No matter what she does, after people know who she is marrying, they will look at her with colored eyes for a while. In fact, she did get into the medical team because of the honor of the Zhou family. What is there to hide? What about? It's better to face it calmly early, or maybe everyone won't pay attention at all. Jo Mikang took a few glances at Chu Xia and said, the people in this hospital don't know me, you think too much about me. That's right. Chu Xia slapped his forehead fiercely, I look like you are more famous than a movie star, haha. Jo Mikang. Entering the hospital building, a few nurses whom Chu Xia knew just happened to walk towards him, so they nodded and smiled at Chu Xia, and when their eyes turned to Jo Mikang, they were purely curious. I understand, now your identity is Lin Chuxia's husband, he. Chuxia laughed and teased Jo Mikang, they must be judging your appearance, whether you are worthy of me. Jo Mikang snorted, do you know now? Apart from the old men of Teacher A, there are also some classmates and friends who knew me since childhood. As for the resident hospital of Teacher A, there are only a small number of doctors and nurses who know me. When it comes to 401, people who know me can be counted with a slap. You are simply worrying. Chu Xia nodded with a smile, well, I'm worrying unnecessarily, and I'm blinded by a leaf. This attitude of admitting mistakes is okay. There was more than half an hour before work time. Worried that Song Xiao and Wang Jing were on their lunch break, Chu Xia knocked on the door first, and pushed the door in by herself first. Seeing that only Song Xiao was sitting at the desk reading materials, she smiled and called the teacher, turning around to greet Jo Mikang, come in. Song Xiao especially hates people who are not punctual, so when she saw Chu Xia, her face pulled down, and when she saw Jo Mikang coming in together, her face pulled even longer. What does this mean? Song Xiao looked at the two of them, do you want me to write a transfer report? Auntie, you are so angry. Jo Mikang smiled wryly, no wonder you and my mother are friends, so you are so irritable, so similar. Do you think that Chu Xia deliberately released your pigeons? Isn't it? Song Xiao snorted coldly, Xiaomi, I also think that I watched you grow up. In my impression, you don't seem like a child who likes to make up nonsense and deceive people. Why, now that you have a wife, you should out of principle. Now, I don't care what Lin Chuxia's identity is, and I don't care if she is the student I fancy. If her attitude towards work is like this, I'm sorry, I won't accompany her. Aunt Song, Chu Xia came here early in the morning, but on the way to the dormitory, Xiao Binky and his son kidnapped her. I just rescued her not long ago, so I sent her over with my own hands in case she had an accident. Jo Mikang, it's not the kind of temperament that likes to be meandering. At this time, how can I talk nonsense? Are you, really? Song Xiao jumped up in shock, and also noticed Chu Xia's swollen cheeks at this time. Apart from the face, is there any other injury? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 317. The second watch arrives. Zhou Mikang was concerned about dealing with the Xiao family's father and son, so he helped Chu Xia explain clearly, exchanged a few words with Song Xiao, and left in a hurry. Damn boy, you must be afraid that I will punish you. Song Xiao shook her head while smiling, and asked Chu Xia to step forward to take a closer look at her face, and sighed, it's really worth it, your place will be dealt with tomorrow. It will also be more swollen than today. Do you want to rest for 2 days before going to work? No need. Chu Xia shook his head, I wear a mask, it's not particularly conspicuous. Okay, girls love beauty, I'm worried that you won't be able to keep your face. Song Xiao said with a smile, if you don't know, you must guess that you have been subjected to domestic violence. Then let the group leader take the blame. Chu Xia glanced at the time, and there was more than a quarter of an hour before work, so he consulted, teacher, I was able to escape this time, thanks to Yang Xiaoli, I think I will thank her first. Go. Song Xiao waved his hand and added, be careful. I know. Chu Xia responded and ran out quickly. Yang Xiaoli was practicing with a female doctor named Han Xiaoqiao in the internal medicine department on the 3rd floor. Quickened her pace, approached, grabbed her, and asked in a low voice, are you okay? That's where I got slapped. Chu Xia pointed to her swollen cheeks, thank you, if it wasn't for you this time, I'm really not sure what would have happened to me. If I'm not sure, I'd report to maximum. What nonsense. Yang Xiaoli breathed a sigh of relief when she heard that she only hurt one side of her face, it's just a coincidence. When I came out of the toilet, I saw Xiao Binky and his son dragging someone into the car. When I see it is you, by the time the car was in motion, the car had already started. Considering my own skill, I didn't dare to rush up, you won't blame me, would you? Am I that confused? Chu Xia shook her head with a smile, I promise, I only have gratitude and gratitude for you plus touch, nothing else. I'm relieved to see that you're fine. Yang Xiaoli patted her chest, you don't know. This morning, my heart was very up and down. Some time ago, I knew that something big happened to your family. I wanted to visit you. However, considering that the two families had no relationship in the past, it seemed a bit too deliberate to go just now, so I didn't go. You don't blame me? Bar. Chu Xia looked helpless, what's wrong with you? Why do you keep asking this kind of question? Well, to be honest, I wanted to see you, but my family stopped me. I am a timid and cowardly person. I was afraid of causing trouble at home, so I didn't go. So, I'm feeling guilty right now. Whether you want to be friends with me in the future is up to you. Chu Xia stared at Yang Xiaoli seriously, our relationship is not up to that point. If I say this, you won't be angry, will you? The boss was silent for a while, and Yang Xiaoli slapped Chu Xia's shoulder fiercely, sisters, you are a friend, I have made friends, I like your calmness. Your personality is also good. Although you are a bit calculating, you are generally honest. Yang Xiaoli punched her, can't you just pretend you didn't see it? You said it too, you like my frankness. You really climbed on the pole. Given the pole, why don't I climb? Okay, you're awesome, I'm defeated. Yang Xiaoli gave her a thumbs up, wait for me. Then she ran to the office quickly, and came out with a notebook in a while, this is my note. I know Luo Xiaoxian and Luo Xiaoxian Lu Meijun will definitely help you take notes, but everyone listens with different emphasis, you should take a comprehensive look and think about it when the time comes, so don't embarrass our 3rd class. Understood. Chu Xia took the notebook unceremoniously, and waved at her while walking, I'm going back to work, let's talk another day. Are you going to live in the dormitory tonight? In a few days. Yang Xiaoli just wanted to tease her a few words, but suddenly thought of the news she overheard from her grandfather, so she couldn't say anything. When Chu Xiao returned to Song Xiao's office, Wang Jing had already returned. She was close to home, and she always went home for dinner recently. Seeing Chu Xiao coming in, a happy smile appeared on her face. "Bride, are you back?" Yes, Chu Xiao smiled and gave her candy from her bag. "Eat candy." "Okay, I'm happy." Wang Jing gave a bunch of blessings while peeling off the candy wrappers, and then showed some typical cases during this period to Chu Xiao. "You should take a good look at these, and I will mark the important ones." Out. Thank you. Chu Xiao's thanks are genuine. For medical students like them who focus on practice, this kind of meticulous service is really needed. Should be, "I'm your senior sister." Wang Jing changed her habit of leaving some odd jobs to Chu Xia, and took the initiative to take care of all the chores in the office, including the patient's call number. Push it to a secluded corner and let her concentrate on studying the case. Taking advantage of Wang Jing's time to go to the bathroom when there was no patient, Chu Xia hurriedly sneaked to Song Xiao's side. "Teacher, did you tell senior sister to let me go?" No. Song Xiao naturally sensed the difference in Wang Jing, and said, "She should be after your cousin." "My cousin?" Chu Xia blinked. How did she know my cousin? Could Xiaoxing's love rival appear? "I'm talking about Jingzhe. The last time Jingzhe came to help you get the study materials, Wang Jing mistook him for your cousin. After that, I didn't deny it. I also wanted to help her get married. I have been busy during this time. And I have never had time to communicate with Jingzhe. Alas, my brain." Song Xiao slapped herself on the forehead. "Well, you can ask Jingzhe for me to see how he feels about Wang Jing. Let's try to talk about it. He's not young anymore. Zhu Xingkan will bother me when he has something to do. By the way, he doesn't seem to bother me this time, probably because he's disappointed in me." Chu Xia discovered for the first time that her teacher talked a lot, and when she was talking, others couldn't get in her mouth at all, so she had to wait for her to finish before saying, "Teacher, my brother already has a girlfriend. You should know her. She is our original captain, Zheng Meili." "He and Meili are together." Song Xiao was stunned for a moment, then shook her head with a smile. "These two little things are finally together. I said they are suitable, and they all gritted their teeth and said I was just worrying." Just at this time, Wang Jing came back from the bathroom. If it was before, she would definitely feel sour when she saw Chu Xia and Song Xiao so close, but now, she was actually a little happy. She believed that the teacher must have told Chu Xia of her thoughts, then, or her wish would come true. Looking at Wang Jing's expression, Song Xiao felt a little guilty. If she had paid attention to this matter earlier, maybe the child would not have fallen into it, but at this time, it is not appropriate to tell her the truth, so she thought about it, waiting for someday let's talk when the time is right. At 2:30 in the afternoon, Chu Xia went to the large classroom to take public classes. This is a special teaching method for this group of medical workers. There are 2 classes in the afternoon every day, and the rest of the time is spent with their respective teachers, learning while practicing. Fundamentally speaking, this method can quickly train doctors who can actually operate, and it can be regarded as adapting to the current situation in the current shortage of medical workers. However, on the other hand, most of the doctors who come out of this kind of method are difficult to become great talents. The cultural foundation is too weak. The students who came to participate in the study, in addition to the students selected from the women's medical team, there are also some students recruited by 401 themselves, which are also military establishments. The difference is that the cultural foundation of the students recruited by 401 is better than that of the women's medical team. At the same time, after graduation, they can directly stay in 401 to work, while the trainees of the women's medical team must first serve in the army, and after a sufficient number of years, they may be transferred back to work in a 401 level hospital. Because of this difference, the exclusive students of 401 looked down on the students of the women's medical team, which makes the students who were not very united and friendly in the medical team get closer and closer now. As soon as Chu Xia entered the classroom, Luo Xiaoxian and Lu Meijun pulled her to her side. Then, Wu Jingbo, Yang Xiaoli, Lin Mengran, Chu Xiaojing and others all greeted her one by one, and stretched out their hands for wedding candy. Other members of the women's hospital team who were not very familiar with them also came to join in the fun. For a while, their side became a hot pot of porridge. When Professor Yuan entered the classroom with a cage containing 2 mice in his left hand and a textbook under his right arm, what he saw was that the students on the left sat upright with their books spread out. Wait for him. The students on the right were all crowded into a lump, making a lot of noise, and they didn't know what they were doing there. The old man in his 60s was not happy. Cough. Useless. Cough. 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 Still no use. Dong dong dong. Professor Yuan was really angry, and the blackboard eraser made a thumping sound, finally getting rid of that big knot. Originally, he didn't like this group of poor students, but now, he looked at them with disgust. He didn't even bother to say a word, he just put the white mouse cage on the table, and took the textbook. Everyone, turn to page 185 of this book. Today we are going to talk about local anatomy, Professor Yuan said while pointing to the cage containing the mice. Both of them have local lesions. Later, 2 representatives from the first group and the second group will be sent up to complete the operation on them under my command. Its life is under control. In your hands, so, I hope everyone can take their studies seriously. After eloquently lecturing a class, the professor retreated to the office to drink tea. The poor diseased white mice were so scared that they shrank in the corner of the cage and dared not move. One group is the students of 401, and the second group is our medical team. Now, all the professors are watching people through the door. While everyone was busy studying the white mice, Luo Xiaoxian and Lu Meijun were busy working popularize the common sense of students in early summer. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 318. There are too many military makeup codes today, and I want to vomit. Let's get married first, and marry first tomorrow. Unexpectedly, such a big change happened in a month. I remember that when I came to class last time, the interns in 401 looked at the members of the women's medical team with envious eyes. In such a short time, it was completely reversed. Coming. Did something happen? Chu Xia asked. Didn't they envy us all the time? Lu Meijun sighed softly. After 2 tests, only Wu Jingbo, Lin Mengran, and Yang Xiaoli were among the top 20. Only those students who passed the period could stay, and those people's tails were raised. Chu Xia suddenly nodded. The self-enrollment of 401 was originally to supplement the temporary staff recruited by domestic demand. Therefore, they would have an instinctive envy for the members of the female medical team with military membership. Now, everyone has equal opportunities, mentality naturally, things have changed. Otherwise, many turning points in a person's life require both hard work and luck. For members of the medical team such as Chu Xia, this is true, and it is even more true for 401 self-enrollment. They are all special products of this era. The difference is that these self-called personnel were originally only temporary staff members of 401, but they were suddenly transferred to official personnel with military status by a piece of approval last month. What I envied at first was the halo of the women's medical team, but now that I have it, my mentality has naturally changed. When Luo Xiaoxian and Lu Meijun were talking about it, Chu Xia felt that someone was sneaking at her, and followed her gaze. A girl with white to transparent complexion lowered her head in a panic. Noticing Chu Xia's actions, Luo Xiaoxian also looked over. Said, she is Mei Jun's neighbor, her name is Hu Dai, and we Mei Jun have not dealt with since childhood. Xiaoxian saved me face. It's not that Hu Dai and I didn't get along. It's that she was born to be my nemesis. She was better than me in every aspect, whether it was study or appearance. Whenever I saw her, my mother would definitely kill her. The nose I trained is not a nose and a face is not a face. I hated her when I was little. Every day I look forward to her moving away. Now, I think she is quite pitiful. Her father has fled to the other side of the strait. It is not easy for her and her mother to depend on each other. Chu Xia came to a sudden, does that mean she was spying on you just now? Lu Meijun nodded and curled her lips again. In the first few days, she still communicated with me, but now the people on both sides are at odds. She doesn't dare to talk to me anymore, and she probably feels guilty again in her heart. She always likes to peek at me, and I hate this kind of dishonesty the most. Just ignore her. Ah! Get up! Get up! It's over, it's over. Crushed. Chu Xia, Luo Xiaoxian, and Lu Meikan were startled by the sudden howl, and turned their heads to look. I saw a few girls frantically grabbing the crushed cage from the ground, and the two little white mice inside were stuck together. What does this mean? Luo Xiaoxian's eyes widened. Then he hooked the heads of Chu Xia and Lu Meijun to his side, and whispered. That's all right now, the patient was murdered, so there's no need to compete. The two of them fell silent. It's all your fault. Why do you push? This is good. Where can I find two sick mice? Who told you to occupy the place and not let me see it? Just now you were bullying the place and not letting me see it. Who didn't let you see it? It's clear that you took me away and you took all the territory by yourself. The quarrel was between two girls, one fat and one thin. Luo Xiaoxian introduced to Chu Xia in a low voice, finally it's their turn to do it. The fat one is called Lu Xinghua, and the thin one is called Zhang Junmei. They are all in a group. First and second, no one will accept the other. Seeing Professor Yuan swaying and swaying towards the classroom, the noisy and lively two quickly returned to their seats. As soon as Professor Heisei entered the door, he saw a cage pressed into a board and two corpses that had been turned into cakes. Oh, with a bang, he rushed to the podium. Who did it? His stern gaze passed over everyone, and he fixed on the position of the second group. Who did it? Stand up for me quickly. Otherwise, when I find out, you don't want to stay here any longer. She did it. The fat girl and the skinny girl pointed at each other. Professor Yuan waved his hand. Okay, sit down, the practical class will start tomorrow. No matter who did it, you two are responsible for finding two mice for me. Now let's continue with the content of the previous class. Speak. Luo Xiaoxian pursed her lips and leaned into Chu Xia's ear and said, see, this is differential treatment. If someone from our side must mention the punishment of standing at the door for a class, then report it to the leadership of the school. Lu Meijun also came over. He is very good at studying, even a little unprincipled. Chu Xia, I think he will like you. Listen to the class. Hearing what the two of them said, Chu Xia understood the old professor's character. After all these years, he favored martial arts but not literature. The old professor has a paranoid liking for students who study well. This may be because he particularly hates women's medicine. It is estimated that in his opinion, a doctor is a doctor, and a soldier is a soldier. Why recruit a group of soldiers who have no background and train them to become doctors? After returning to the office after class, Chu Xia told Song Xiao everything she saw in class. Song Xiao sighed. Mr. Yuan suffered from rheumatism in both legs that were tortured a few years ago. Standing for a while will cause heartache, but this time when the class starts, he has to go to the podium in person. Dean Su didn't. The method agreed to him. Yuan Lao studied medicine in Country D when he was young. He is a person with real skills. Apart from his stubborn personality, he has no other problems. You follow him carefully, and you will gain a lot. Teacher, I will, Chu Xia hurriedly stated. At this moment, Wu Jingbo ran over in a hurry. Director Song, can I have a few words with Chu Xia alone? Song Yankai had a good impression of Wu Jingbo, so she waved her hand. Go. Chu Xia, do me a favor. Pulling Chu Xia to a secluded corner, Wu Jingbo hurriedly said. As a result, he accompanied the teacher to the operating table. Now, only you can help him. What's going on? Please explain clearly. As a result, I have a girlfriend named Li Xiru, and the two of them have filed a marriage report and are about to get married, but today, Li Xiru's mother was suddenly taken away. The charge was harboring and sheltering, and Xiao Binky confessed to her. Li Xiru just came to look for results, but he was not there, so he told me. After much deliberation, I think it is the most convenient to find you. Chu Xia thought for a while, and agreed, okay, let me ask. You wait first. Wu Jingbo held back Chu Xia. Chu Xia, I don't like to meddle in other people's affairs, I know, and neither do you, but I've waited over and over again about today's matter, and I'm here to beg you. As a result, it was not easy to get together with Li Xiru. Earlier Li Xiru was almost raped by Xiao Yuan, and it was also to save Li Xiru. As a result, I hurriedly typed the marriage report. I really don't want to see another twists and turns in their marriage. However, if Li Xiru's mother deliberately helped Xiao Binky, she deserved it. If she has unavoidable difficulties, I would trouble you to plead with Captain Zhou. Okay, Chu Xia responded, and then asked suspiciously, how do you know that Zhou Mikang is in charge of this matter? When the Zhou family was in trouble, it was the Xiao family who did it. Now that the Zhou family has turned around, it is natural to clean up Xiao Bing, Wu Jingbo said with a face of course. Okay, I was confused, the reason is quite clear. Chu Xia thought for a while, it's not convenient to talk about this kind of thing on the phone. Zhou Mikang is not a fool, I will go to him directly after work. By the way, ask about this matter, you and Guo also tell him to take it easy. Okay, Wu Jingbo breathed a sigh of relief. I also made Li Xiru cry just now, and it's also true that according to Zhou's temper, he will never wrong people indiscriminately like the Xiao family and his son. In a hurry. You have a good relationship with senior brother Chang, Chu Xia joked with a smile. Well, I treat him as my own brother now. Wu Jingbo poked Chu Xia. I know what you're thinking, you can just say this in front of me, but don't do it in front of senior brother Chang. Said, he has a tender face, he will not be able to bear it. Besides, if Li Xiru misunderstands, I will not be able to clean up even if I jump into the Yellow River. Why are you explaining so much? Chu Xia glanced at the time. I'll go back and talk to the teacher, and I'll help you with things now. Thank you. Wu Jingbo bowed to Chu Xia, and quickly ran back to her office. Li Xiru was still waiting there anxiously. When she saw her come in, she stood up anxiously, with a look of hesitation. Wu Jingbo smiled at her. Don't worry, I've asked a friend for help. If your mother was wronged, she will be fine. Thank you. Li Xiru couldn't stop crying again. My mother must have been wronged by Xiao Binky. He is retaliating against me for not listening to him and following Xiao Yuan's wishes. That must be the case. Okay, don't cry. Wu Jingbo looked at Li Xiru with some headaches. Why do you cry so much? People say that women are made of water. You have really verified this statement. I'm sorry, I don't want to cry either. Li Xiru cried even harder. Wu Jingbo suddenly felt very pitiful, finding such a daughter-in-law would be fatal. In fact, what she didn't know was that besides her mother being taken away, there was another more important reason for Li Xiru's crying now. The matter really came out, and she and Guo probably couldn't be together anymore. Guo doesn't mind. What about Guo's parents? It is impossible for them not to mind this matter, but she, as her mother's daughter, can't stand by and watch her mother being forced to be killed, but ignore it for her own happiness. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 319. The first update will arrive, and the second update will probably be tomorrow. Nuan is not sure now. When Chu Xia returned to the office, Wang Jing had already completed the index record and came back. Seeing her, she immediately greeted her warmly. Chu Xia is out of class. Yes, senior sister Chu Xia smiled at her, and went straight to Song Yankai's table. Teacher, I want to ask for leave and leave early. Huh? Song Yankai raised her head with a calm expression. The reason? There was no other way. Chu Xia had no choice but to briefly report what Wu Jingbo asked for to Song Yankai, and Song Yankai immediately nodded cheerfully. Go. Not caring about the mouth-opening boss Wang Jing, whose eyes were already fixed, Chu Xia grabbed her bag and ran outside. It took a long time for Wang Jing to come back to her senses, looked at Song Yankai, and asked in a stuttering voice, Old, teacher, Lin Chuxia, is married to Zhou, teacher Zhou. Yes, Song Yankai nodded and looked at Wang Jing. Is there a problem? No. No, Wang Jing hurriedly waved her hand. She is a little out of her mind now, and her colleagues in the hospital are spreading the news that Lin Chuxia has returned to her hometown to get married, and she also takes it for granted. When she found out that Jing Zhe was Chu Xia's cousin a few days ago, she was a little surprised that Chu Xia could become Director Song's student. Under normal circumstances, how could a rural female soldier without special skills catch the eyes of her tutor? Only now did I understand that it turned out that it was not only my cousin's power, but also the power of my in-laws. No wonder she didn't go to work so long after her wedding leave. Didn't it coincide with the time when Zhou's accident happened? Speaking of which, this newlywed is both blessed and unlucky. As soon as they got married, Zhou's family suffered a catastrophe. Fortunately, it didn't take long for the Zhou family to turn over again. Otherwise, it would really be said that the Zhou family took the broom star wife. Looking at it now, Lin Chuxia is a blessed person. After this incident, the Zhou family's position will only become more and more stable in the future. It seems that I really have to treat this little junior sister well. Now she is glad that her junior sister came here, and she didn't make things difficult for her, and, according to her observation, the other party was not the kind of narrow-minded girl, which gradually calmed her down. Song Yankai had actually been paying attention to her expression, and now she finally breathed a sigh of relief. She just asked Chu Xia why she asked for leave, and she guessed that it might be related to the Zhou family. She just wanted to take this opportunity to tell Wang Jing about Chu Xia's identity quietly. Her proud disciple is smart enough and has enough winks. Talent is also good. But the jealousy is a little stronger. It's not that she didn't know about the things she did before, but fortunately, her jealousy caused trouble, not just for no reason. Instead, she was training the students in a disguised form, so she didn't stop her. Enchant her today. It was because of Jing Zhe. If she knew that Jing Zhe already had a girlfriend. It's possible to take your anger out on Chu Xia if you can't ask for it. Anyway, he is the student he fancy. She didn't want her to be ruined like this. If the two apprentices had conflicts, the only thing she wanted to save was Chu Xia. However, she felt it was a pity to abandon the apprentice who had been with her for so long. It is up to her whether she can comprehend things at this stage. Fortunately, judging by her appearance, she shouldn't let herself down. Teacher. After hesitating, Wang Jing solemnly promised, I will take Lin Chuxia seriously in the future, and I will never hide anything. Song Yankai put down the pen in her hand, and looked at Wang Jing seriously. Xiao Jing, do you know what your shortcomings are? Yeah, Wang Jing nodded. My mother told me that I was a very possessive child since I was a child. After becoming a teacher's student, I haven't completely changed this problem. In the future, I will work hard to change it. It's a good thing to work hard and have a sense of competition, but it's better not to go too far. I didn't tell you about this matter before. I hope you can realize it yourself and change it sincerely. Teacher, thank you. Wang Jing's face turned red. She always thought that what she did was very secretive. It turned out that the teacher knew everything. Okay, although you are too strong, you never use shady means. This is what I admire about you. As a human being, it is impossible to be completely selfless, including me, and Director Huang and Director Tao did not get along well. Relation. Teacher. Wang Jing was moved, not knowing what to say. My teacher is the director of the first foreigner, Director Huang is the director of the second foreigner, and Director Tao is the director of the third foreigner. The three usually dislike each other and are not convinced by each other. The teacher compared the competition between the three of them with her low-level competition, and it really gave her a big step. Okay, if you really think that the teacher treats you well, study hard, try to become an apprentice as soon as possible, and compare the apprentices of those two bastards to me. Yes, Wang Jing saluted, I promise to complete the task. Song Yankai hesitated, but in the end she didn't mention the fact that Jingzhe had a girlfriend. It was a bit too deliberate to talk about Jingzhe's girlfriend just after the conversation. She should let Wang Jing digest it after a while. But Chu Xia ran downstairs in a panic and almost collided with Jingzhe, who went upstairs after the operation. She was so scared that she took a step back and stopped to greet him. Where are you going in a panic? What happened? Jingzhe said while handing the folder in his hand to Qiaqiu, let's go back first. Yes, the fruit answered, smiled at Chu Xia, and went upstairs. Brother Cheng. Chu Xia hurriedly called to him, Sister Xiao Ru is with you, you should go back quickly. As a result, the corners of his mouth twitched. He was in a hurry to go back to the office. Isn't this sentence just nonsense? What's the matter? Jingzhe knew that Chu Xia's words just now must be intentional. Brother, do you have time? Chu Xia was not polite to him at all. Take me to the station if you have time, and I'll talk to you on the way. Jingzhe handed her the car keys. You go to the car and wait for me first. I will go back and arrange the postoperative matters, and I will meet you right away. Either, or I'd better go take the bus. Chu Xia was a little embarrassed. She was so anxious. Why did she forget that she had just finished the operation? It's okay, minor surgery, I'm just going to do some routine work. Jingzhe waved at her, and strode upstairs. Brother, why are you here? When Chu Xia came outside the hospital hall, he saw Zhao Qiliang pacing back and forth with his head drooping. Xia, are you coming to work? Seeing Chu Xia, Zhao Qiliang was surprised. I thought it would take a few days for you to come to work. Chu Xia was also very happy to see him, so she smiled and took candy out of her pocket to give him. I just came to work today, brother is here to find Xiaoxian. Zhao Qiliang scratched his head in embarrassment. Yes, have you seen her? I went to class with her in the afternoon. Chu Xia raised her wrist to look at the time, and said, she should be in the office right now. Bro, I have something else to do, I'll talk to you later. Without waiting for Zhao Qiliang to speak, then he ran away. You. Zhao Qiliang rubbed his head and sighed. He had been begging her for almost a month, but she just ignored him. After finally seeing her cousin, it seemed that she didn't intend to help him. What should I do? Jingzhe, who came out later, saw Zhao Qiliang, and patted his shoulder with a big hand. Qiliang, come to Xiaoxian, hold on, remember, hold on. Zhao Qiliang shook his head, confirming the fact that his cousin didn't intend to help him, and his spirit was even more sluggish than before. Chu Xia, did you see your brother? Jingzhe asked Chu Xia as soon as he got in the car. I see. You're not going to help him, are you? Ah, Chu Xia stared at Jingzhe suspiciously. What's wrong with him? I had a conflict with Luo Xiaoxian, and I have come to stand guard many times, he. Jingzhe laughed as he talked. It should be Luo Xiaoxian who forbids him to enter the hall, so he is really obedient and refuses to go in. It is quite pitiful to look at. Why, Chu Xia frowned slightly, Xiaoxian didn't tell me. Oh, yes, she hasn't had time to tell me yet. I don't know the specifics. Anyway, Zhao Liang's infatuation has conquered many little nurses. You, the most girl, tell Luo Xiaoxian, don't act too much. When the time comes, let others take advantage of it, but there is no point in crying. Cried. Chu Xia said, my brother is not so shallow-sighted, he is a dedicated person, how can he be snatched away casually? Okay, I also believe that if your brother persists, the clouds will bloom and the moon will shine. By the way, you haven't told me why you are going to the station. Let's talk about business first. Li Xiru's mother was arrested. Chu Xia reported to Jingzhe what she knew about Li Xiru's mother. Hey, after listening, Jingzhe sighed, I'm also to blame for this, but in that situation, I couldn't do anything about it. Ah, Chu Xia stared at Jingzhe, a little confused. The matter between Xiao's father and son and Li Xiru's mother was discovered by me and reported to the police. The case of the Zhou family was closed ahead of schedule. This matter also played a key role. The chief hates this kind of thing the most. Brother, are you going to be an unsung hero? Chu Xia frowned and stared at Jingzhe. If it wasn't for this matter, would you have never planned to say it? She knew that Jingzhe was responsible for the materials she handed over, but she didn't know that he had gone so far for the sake of the Zhou family. Jingzhe just laughed, I'm not that great, the case is closed, the Zhou family will know about it sooner or later, why do you think I should go to claim credit, right? Chu Xia said seriously, the Zhou family owes you a lot of favors. No, I have to emphasize to Zhou Mikang when I get back, it was my brother who helped him to come out so early. Jingzhe nodded with a smile, okay, I agree with this matter, you'd better tell him, when you see me in the future, you have to call me brother seriously. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 320. The second watch arrives. Zhou Mikang was not in the interrogation room. To be precise, the door of the interrogation room was locked and there was no one there. Jingzhe brought Chu Xia to Zhou Mikang's office, but there was still no one there. There was no one in Zhou Hanliang's office nearby. Go to Master Su to have a look, Jingzhe said. Chu Xia nodded and quickly followed. Knocking on the door of Su Zhenghong's office, but no one answered, Jingzhe frowned. Isn't this a bit too unusual? The door of the office room 2 doors away was opened, and a female soldier about 40 years old came out. Seeing that it was Jingzhe, she smiled and said, Mr. Su is on the 3rd floor. Thank you, Director Qi. Jingzhe thanked, took the lead upstairs, and whispered to Chu Xia, it should be the big leader, the 3rd floor is the VIP reception area. Chu Xia's heart was thumping so badly, it looked like this, the level is not low, so there's nothing wrong with it, right? She really felt a little startled. At the stairs on the 3rd floor, 2 soldiers with serious faces stood there. When they saw them coming up, they reached out and stopped them. Who are you looking for? Let's find Zhou Mikang. Master Su is also fine. Jingzhe quickly handed over his military officer ID and work ID, and the soldier on the left took it for a closer look, and handed it back to Jingzhe, motioning him to stand aside. Chu Xia picks in his pocket, and smiles embarrassingly, I was sent by the women's medical team to 401 for an internship, and I haven't issued a work permit yet. Jingzhe had black lines all over his face. Seeing Chu Xia's actions, he thought she had brought a work permit. She's my student, she's here to see Captain Zhou for something urgent. The soldier on the left shook his head seriously, sorry, you can't pass without a permit. Please don't make things difficult for me. I can only ask you to pass by yourself. Jingzhe peeked in along the corridor. Who's here? No comment. Jingzhe thought for a while, then said, then can you tell Zhou Mikang? His wife is in a hurry to find him. The soldier on the left looked at Chu Xia subconsciously, his eyes full of surprise. Then, he nodded to the soldier on the right, and strode in. After a while, he led Su Zhenghong over. When walking in with the two of them, Su Zhenghong asked suspiciously, is there something urgent to come here at this time? Yes. Little, Mr. Su. Chu Xia just wanted to call my little uncle, but realized that the place was wrong, and changed it to Mr. Su. As a result, it became Mr. Su to others. A 40-year-old soldier standing outside the door glanced at Su Zhenghong, then at Chu Xia, the corners of his mouth curled up. Su Zhenghong punched him on the chest. Let me introduce you, this is my nephew's daughter-in-law, that is, Zhou Mikang's daughter-in-law. Hey, is this the daughter-in-law of our little stubborn head? The soldier looked at Chu Xia with a smile. Call me Uncle Luo. Uncle Luo. Hello. Chu Xia glanced at Su Zhenghong with some doubts, hoping that the other party could give her a thorough understanding of the relationship between Uncle Luo and the Zhou family. Su Zhenghong said, his son is Luo Zhaoqiang, and he and Zhou Mikang played together naked. Chu Xia's eyes drifted back to Uncle Luo again, the wedding banquet. Uncle Luo, you didn't attend, did you? I didn't make it back in time. My wife and Gao Qiang both went. Uncle Luo looked at Su Zhenghong with a chuckle. He blushed in Chu Xia's compliment. Uncle Luo, are you burying me or are you praising me? What is my future? I'll let you see. Just because of your innocence when you meet people, you are appointed to be very promising. Uncle Su. Where's Zhou Mikang? Jingzhe, who had been silent all this time, asked. Damn boy, it's been a long time, and you pretend you don't know me. You really don't know me, Uncle Luo said while pushing Jingzhe hard. How did Uncle offend you? Uncle Luo, I have business to do, so I'll play with you later. Jingzhe looked at Su Zhenghong. Uncle Su, how is the Xiao family case going? I'm one of the witnesses, so you should give me some news, right? Su Zhenghong pointed to a door inside, motioning for Jingzhe and Chu Xia to go and have a look. The door was ajar. An old man in his 60s sat face to face with Zhou Mikang. Are you wrong? When the two were standing outside the door, the old man happened to ask this question. That's right. You. The old man was so angry that he slapped his hand on the table. As a member of the army, you arrested people without instructions, are you not wrong? If no action was taken then, my wife would be in danger. How dangerous is it? It will be life-threatening. Nonsense. The father and son didn't want her life at all. They didn't want her life, but what they wanted was to make her life worse than death, which is more despicable than taking her life. You. I have always respected you very much. If you blame me for this incident, then I will take back my respect for you. What would you do if I asked you to kill your wife? Chu Xia, who was hiding behind the door, was so confused. How could she have offended such a strange uncle, and wanted to kill her? Unless you kill me first, no one can kill her. I thought you were going to say kill me first. Don't dare. Is there anything else you dare not do? Certainly. Are you sincerely trying to piss me off? No. You. Drink some water before training. The old man was so angry that he knocked over the cup. There is no need for you to cry like a cat. Now I'm a mouse and you're a cat. Why didn't I see it? Zhou Mikang, I love talents, but it doesn't mean that I will tolerate you indefinitely. What you did this time is really outrageous. Privately mobilizing the army, privately relying on the mobilization of the police force. If you don't punish you, the other party will not easily stop this matter, you understand? Clear. You. The old man sighed heavily. If you don't cause trouble for me, you will feel uncomfortable. I understand it. No, I just protect my wife. As a husband, if you can't even protect your own wife, what else can you do? The old man knocked on the table. I'm a little interested in your wife. What kind of girl can make you a different person? I'm just doing my duty as a husband. If everyone fulfills their responsibilities like you, will our army still have any way to lead it? Yes. What is it? The old man grabbed the cup and threw it at Joe Mikang. You are just too courageous. Every time something happens, I will wipe your ass. You don't take it seriously. This if I make you comfortable this time, my surname will not be Sunday. Seeing Joe Mikang sitting there straight, letting the cup hit his forehead heavily, Chu Xia unconsciously touched his forehead. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 321. As soon as it arrives. This vice chairman's son is in charge of our military region, and he is Joe Mikang's father's immediate superior. He likes Joe Mikang very much. This time when something happened to the Joe family, he also helped out a lot. According to him, it should be that Joe Mikang mobilized the army and police to arrest Xiao's father and son, and was sued. Don't worry, he won't really do anything to Joe Mikang. If he rushes over to deal with it in such a hurry, it's tantamount to telling those who are interested that Joe Mikang belongs to him and no one is allowed to move. Seeing the worry on Chu Xia's face, Jingzhe briefly introduced the old man's situation. Vice Chairman, Chu Xia couldn't help repeating to herself, the people she met in this era were getting bigger and bigger, so she said nervously. Don't look at him being so cruel to Joe Mikang. In fact, the old man is very approachable. Otherwise, Master Su wouldn't dare to let us come and eavesdrop. Jingzhe pulled Chu Xia back quietly as he spoke. He had already guessed that Su Zhenghong asked them to eavesdrop. The intention of listening, secretly envious of Joe Mikang's good fortune. Hearing this, how could Chu Xia not give up on him? However, on the other hand, he didn't know that Chu Xia was coming, and what he said now should be what he really thought in his heart, and it was worth Chu Xia's desperation for him. As Jingzhe guessed, Chu Xia is now very moved by Joe Mikang. Regardless of whether the old man has a good temper or a bad temper, he is the chairman after all. For his own sake, he would go so far as to contradict him regardless. She admitted that her little woman's vanity was completely satisfied. From that era, even Li Gang's son could be so arrogant. She didn't feel much about Joe Mikang mobilizing the army and police to save her. I thought he would do such a thing in his capacity. Is very normal. It is only now that I understand that this guy has caused a catastrophe. Fortunately, looking at it this way, he is still quite favored by the chiefs. Even if he is punished, it should not be too severe. Besides, the Zhou family suffered such a big grievance some time ago. At this time, he should be appeased. After about 5 minutes, the door opened. Zhou Mikang came out expressionlessly, and was obviously stunned for a moment when he saw Chu Xia, and then quickly asked, "Why are you here?" Jingzhe pulled Chu Xia behind him to block him. "Brother-in-law, your manners, first finish greeting uncle, then talk." "Thank you, brother, for bringing Chu Xia here." Jingzhe froze there for a moment. He didn't expect Joe Mikang to cooperate so much. This stubborn. He couldn't be more clear. Now, why did he suddenly become so talkative? Who is this little girl? The old man also came out, different from the grumpy one just now. At this moment, he is smiling, giving people a feeling of spring breeze. Joe Mikang pulled Chu Xia forward. He introduced, "Chairman, this is my wife Lin Chuxia." "Chairman, good." Chu Xia's tense calves trembled. She wanted to show off her domineering air and come forward to say hello very calmly. Unfortunately, it can't be done. Okay. The old man laughed and teased Joe Mikang, "No wonder you protect her so much, It turns out that the hero is saddened by the beauty, haha. Hee hee. Haha. Su Zhenghong and Luo Lidong also laughed. Chu Xia had never seen such a big official before. I don't know if others talked like this. Anyway, this made her feel a little offline, but it effectively relieved her tension, and her calves stopped shaking. Or seeing that her mood has eased a little, the old man smiled warmly, take care of this little stubborn guy, and let him be less messy. Yes, Chu Xia quickly stood at attention and saluted, I promise to complete the task assigned by the chief. Can you complete this task? Zhou Mikang poked her finger, don't talk big and flash your tongue. In front of Vice Chairman's son, Chu Xia naturally didn't dare to let go like Zhou Mikang, and could only swallow his dissatisfaction, but his small face completely brought out this emotion. Haha. Vice Chairman's son, who is in a high position, looked at Chu Xia's expression, and smiled more freely, and tapped Zhou Mikang's forehead with his finger, boy, not bad, good eyesight. That's right, Zhou Mikang nodded without humility at all, can I have bad eyesight? Chu Xia especially wanted to ask if the old man was praising her in the end, because her intuition told her that the other party seemed to mean that she was careless, and that she was out of mood, but after hesitating, she still didn't dare to catch up. Looking for a pump. After speaking a few words with Jing Zhe and asking about Mr. Jing's health, Vice Chairman's son left under the escort of Luo Lidong and others. Little uncle, help me take care of my uncle. Without waiting for Su Zhenghong and Jing Zhe to say anything, Zhou Mikang pulled Shuxia away, took her to his office and asked, tell me. Although I'm not happy with his tone, this is really not the time to worry about it. At first I thought it might not be a problem, but now, I think it might make things difficult for you. Chu Xia looked at Zhou Mikang with some confusion. Originally, she really thought it was a trivial matter, but even Vice Chairman's son was alarmed, as if it really wasn't a trivial matter. Say it, Zhou Mikang looked at her with a frown, don't be a mother-in-law. The Li Xinwan you caught this afternoon is the mother of Guo Guo's fiancé, Li Xiru. Chu Xia told Zhou Mifa what Wu Jingbo asked for in the afternoon. Zhou Mikang didn't hide from her, she was indeed forced, but she also maintained an improper relationship with Xiao Binqi for many years. Now this matter cannot be solved by letting her go back. People probably know it. In fact, it should be said that the people there have known about her relationship with Xiao Bing for a long time, but they were just speculations before, but this time, it was confirmed, so. Zhou Mikang spread his hands, it seems that we can't help thing. How do you know everything? Chu Xia stared at the boss, you went to arrest her, and you also publicized her behavior by the way. Isn't it a bit excessive? What are you thinking about? Zhou Mikang explained with a speechless face, Xiao Binqi had made arrangements early on. When he went to arrest people, Xiao Binqi's parents were blocking the door of Li's house and asked Xiao's family to take their granddaughter, give it back to them. Ah, Chu Xia was stunned, where is this trouble? Xiao Bing had foreseen his own fate early on, and pinned his hopes on Li Xiru. He wrote all this in advance and told his parents, asking them to go to Li's house to quarrel with important people, and ask them to explain to Li Xiru. Among the children she gave birth to, as long as there is a boy with the surname Xiao, he can get all the property of the Xiao family. It's too despicable, Chu Xia thought for a while, but still looked confused. Don't Li Xiru's father know that Li Xiru is not his own daughter? I said I don't know, but... After a pause, Zhou Mikang said, it seems that he should know but is unwilling to admit it. If the old man and the old lady of the Xiao family don't reveal this matter, probably, he will put Li Xiru in his life for the rest of his life. Be your own daughter. That is to say, Li Xiru also knows about this. Chu Xia thought for a while, then sighed, I know why she is in a hurry to find results, one is to help her mother, and the other is to find out the tone of results bar. This Xiao Binqi is too disgusting, knowing that Li Xiru is his daughter, but still let Xiao Yuan do such a beastly thing. If Xiao Yuan succeeds, What will Li Ziru do? This will capsize, and Li Ziru is used like this again. Is he still human? Okay, leave this matter alone. I will try my best not to let Li Xinhuan go to jail. Zhou Mikang walked out with his arms around Chu Xia's shoulders. Let Jingzhe take you home, I will go back later. Chu Xia's heart moved. You are still in charge of this case. Of course, if I hand him over to someone else, I won't worry. Zhou Mikang's lips curled into a rare smile. Grandpa Sun did a very interesting job this time. Feed. After hesitating for a moment, Chu Xia asked, can I stay and wait for you to go home together? Zhou Mikang nodded happily. Okay, if you want to stay, you can stay. Let Jingzhe tell his family, so that parents won't worry. Not being rejected, Chu Xia was a little surprised. She glanced at him suspiciously, and didn't dare to say anything. She was afraid that she would accidentally offend the head of the group, Zhaizi, so she wouldn't let her listen in. Of course, the main reason is that the head of the group will leave soon, and she is moved by his protection of her. She wants to spend more time with him, so she can spend more time with him. Well, I hope these limited few days can make the two of us feel happy. Cultivate feelings well. By the way, Zhou Mikang, thank you. What? Zhou Mikang looked at her with raised eyebrows. What did I do to surprise you again? When you were talking to Vice Chairman's son, I was eavesdropping outside. Chu Xia smiled embarrassedly. I heard what you said. I was very touched, really. You stayed because of this. Zhou Mikang stopped and looked at her. Lin Chuxia, listen to me, let's not talk about whether I have feelings for you. Since I married you back home and became my wife, I will do everything I can to protect you and be a qualified husband. There is nothing to thank, understand? Understood. Chu Xia quietly rolled his eyes. This man is really arrogant as hell. Afraid that he would drive him away, he quickly added, I stayed, not just because I was moved. You are about to leave, I will see you again, I don't know when it will be. Don't you want me? Chu Xia. I'm asking you something. I refuse to answer, Chu Xia said angrily. He. It could be heard that the head of the group, Zhaizi, laughed very complacently. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 323. Do you know what is the most painful thing for people who lose their manuscripts? I just desperately wanted to write it back to the original, but I couldn't think about it in detail, and then I couldn't help but get entangled. As a result, I wrote a chapter for a day. Standing outside the door and peeking at Chu Xia, seeing the limp arms and legs of Xiao Binqi and Xiao Yuan's father and son, she shivered unconsciously. Even though she hadn't completed her medical studies, she could see what was going on. The joints were dismounted. Okay, think about it carefully. Zhou Mikang played with the pen in his hand, and bared his teeth at the father and son. I do have plenty of time, but the key is you. If you drag it on for a while, even if you put it back, you can only do crawling. It's an animal. No, it can only be regarded as a creeping animal. Thinking about such a day, tisk tisk. I've confessed everything I can. There's really nothing missing. Commander Zhou, please forgive me, okay? For your sister's sake, leave me a way out, okay? Xiao Yuan howling with snot and tears, that image looks so pitiful to outsiders. He was really going to collapse, and he even confessed the matter of piercing someone's window paper when he was a child. No matter how detailed he was, he might have to pay attention to how many meals a day and what he ate. Of course, the premise is that he can remember. Feeling her arm being pulled, Chu Xia quickly turned her head and saw Zhang Meili looking at her with a smile. Hello, Captain Zhang, she hurriedly greeted her. Sister-in-law 3, if third brother hears you address me like that, he probably won't talk to me in the future, Zhang Meili said while dragging Chu Xia out. There's nothing to see, let's go. Let's go out for a stroll and get some fresh air. In fact, Chu Xia was not very interested in the interrogation. She hated Xiao's father and son to the extreme, and wished for their bad luck, but after seeing their current appearance, she was completely balanced in her heart. The feeling of being covered in joints all over the body does not need to be experienced. She also knows that the feeling is definitely worse than death. The father and son are not crying out for pain now, not because they can bear it, but because already numb. Seeing that Zhenmei always looked at herself intentionally or unintentionally, Chu Xia asked with a puzzled face, "Could it be that I haven't seen you for a few days, and I've become beautiful again?" He. Zhenmei turned around with a smile, "I'm happy for third brother, he finally found someone he likes." Thinking of Zhou Mikang's words, Chu Xia explained with a smile, "No, he just fulfilled his responsibility, fulfilling his husband's responsibility. He said this himself." Zhenmei curled her lips, "Third brother is like this, he always likes to say what he doesn't mean." When he received a call from Yang Zili, I was in his office. The state of his expression at that time. It was exactly the same when Rao Rao had an accident. I had heard a little about it and was really freaked out. I thought, what happened to you? He hung up the phone and ran out without saying a word. She stretched out her hand in front of Chu Xia's eyes, "Look. If I hadn't flashed so fast, I guess my hand would have been useless. The fingertips of 10 fingers. It's already turned black and blue." Chu Xia took a deep breath. "How did this happen?" "Before I caught up with the car, just as I was about to get in the car, he jumped out and wiped his fingers on the door, and that's it." You can imagine how fast he was at that time. Zhenmei sighed, "I guess, if I was in front of the car at that time, he could kill me and crush me." Chu Xia wanted to apologize for Zhou Mikang, but when the words came to his lips, he swallowed them back. They are cousins, and she just got married, so forget it. "Third sister-in-law, don't you help third brother to pay me." Zhenmei poked Chu Xia, who was in a daze. "Anyway, I was hurt because of you." Chu Xia smiled mischievously, "Thank you." Zhenmei had black lines all over her hair. "Thank you for what?" "Thank you for caring about me." "Have you not adapted to your status yet?" Zhenmei laughed, "Third brother's business is your business. You and third brother are the closest. We, including my second aunt, have to stand back." She never dared to think like this, and felt that it was the rhythm of death. "It's not easy to answer," Chu Xia just laughed. However, at this moment, her gratitude to Zhou Mikang deepened. "Do you know why I pulled you out now?" Zhenmei asked with a soft sigh. "I don't want me to see the disgusting appearance of Xiao's father and son. This is what I can think of. I can't guess anything else. There is this reason, but the main thing." After a pause, Zhenmei said, "The main reason is to have a few heart-to-heart conversations with you. Our initial relationship was between superiors and subordinates, but now, it's sister-in-law. Although they are not close, my mother and second aunt have a good relationship. In my heart, second aunt is second only to my mother. After she called my mother yesterday, my mother said, second aunt treats you and third brother relationship, especially lack of confidence. After the Zhou family's accident this time, your second aunt was grateful for your performance, but you and the third brother always get along with each other, which made her feel that you don't seem to have too much affection for the third brother. She is particularly worried that third brother has been on this mission for too long. What will happen to your relationship, third sister-in-law? I also roughly know the reason why you and third brother are together. It is true that the third brother acted a bit domineering at first, but I saw him completely changed from before. If it wasn't for love, I believe it would be impossible for a person to undergo these changes." Chu Xia wondered if her mother-in-law told Zhenmei's mother that she and Zhou Mikang were not really together. Otherwise, what did Zhenmei mean by saying this? Seeing that she hadn't said anything for a while, Zhenmei continued, "Sister-in-law 3, I said this only in the hope that when third brother leaves, he will leave with concern, that kind of concern that cannot be parted from. You may think that he just sent out an ordinary mission, but the fact is that the danger of this mission is beyond our imagination. The second aunt is reluctant to let the third brother go, but, hey. She sighed and stopped talking. Go down. Chusia still didn't say anything. It's not that she didn't want to talk to Zenmaleigh, but that she didn't know what to say. She even wondered, could it be that she has no affection for Jo Mikang in the eyes of outsiders? After waiting for Chusia's answer for a long time, Zenmaleigh was a little disappointed. She hesitated for a long time when she came to find Chusia. When Jingzhe brought Chusia over, she saw it, and she also understood the relationship between Jingzhe and Chusia now. Love, but he concealed it very well, and what he showed was only his brother's concern for his sister. Therefore, she was scruples, whether she would make Jingzhe think too much when she went to Chusia. However, if she doesn't look for it, she will worry about third brother. Furthermore, if the third brother is really in some danger, does the second aunt really have no complaints about Chusia's ability to do it? Some things cannot be judged by reason. At this moment, the second aunt is very grateful to Chusia, but at the same time, she feels that it is incomprehensible that she doesn't like the third brother. After all, the third brother is so outstanding. Of course Chusia could feel the change in Zenmaleigh's mood, but she didn't want to say anything. Of course, she already has her own idea on how to do it, but she doesn't want to swear to others. This is a private matter between her and Jo Mikang, and she has no obligation to explain it to others. For a moment, the scene became a little stiff. Chusia, are you angry with me? Zenmaleigh asked after walking away from the boss for a while. Hearing the change of address, she knew she was angry, and Chusia smiled helplessly. I'm not angry with you, I know you're doing it for our own good, but I don't know how to answer you. Is it? After a pause, Zenmaleigh sighed, do you think I'm meddling? I'm sure you wouldn't believe me if I said nothing at all, would you? What you mean by that is that you actually blame me a little bit, don't you? Hee hee. The two laughed together, and the gap that had just been established in their hearts disappeared. It's hard for me to force others. It's really not for outsiders to meddle in emotional matters. Third sister-in-law, I'm sorry. Zenmaleigh was a hearty woman, and immediately apologized to Chusia. Your starting point is not only for his own good, but also for my own good. I know that. But I am such a bad-tempered person. The more irritable I am, the easier it is for me to not recognize good people. I should apologize to you. Chusia said with an embarrassed smile, I really should learn from you, I'm still easy to be narrow-minded. How should I put it? Zenmaleigh pondered for a while, and then said, for so many years, none of the girls with better conditions than you and worse than you can attract the attention of the third brother, or it is your indifference that is the reason. That's what attracted him the most. Does this mean that Jo Mikang is not abusive by nature? Thinking this way in her heart, Chusia couldn't say that. She was thinking about how to answer without hurting Jo Mikang's face or destroying her prestige, when Zenmaleigh's face suddenly became serious. Following her line of sight, she saw 4 people, 2 men, 2 women, walking towards her. That's Rao Shui's parents, sister, and brother-in-law. Before Chusia asked, Zenmaleigh took the initiative to explain. Apparently, this is the news that Rao Shui was arrested, and they came here. May Li. From a distance, the young woman waved to Zenmaleigh, and Chusia looked at her twice. She was a classically graceful girl with slender eyebrows and almond eyes, much prettier than Rao Shui. Then look at the other people. The older man, with narrow eyes and tall nose, looks a bit like Rao Shui, while the middle-aged woman looks a lot like Rao Ying. Obviously, the 2 sisters look like a father and a mother. The most distinctive feature of the young man's face was his hooked nose. When looking at people, his eyes were also cold. If he accidentally met his gaze, Chusia felt as if he had been stared at by a poisonous snake. She looked at others, and others naturally looked at her. At this time, the one who was able to stand beside HandsomeMaleLead was so outstanding that she could probably guess who she was with her toes. "Hello, Uncle Rao." "Hello, Aunt Rao." HandsomeMaleLead greeted the middle-aged men and women first, then looked at Rao Ying and the young man, and chuckled, "When will you eat your wedding candy?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 324. Sorry everyone, I was too tired last month, and I felt a little lazy on the first day. I will definitely have 2 more changes tomorrow. Let me take a day off today. Mei, can you not ask me about it as soon as you see me? Rao Ying said with a faint rosy color on her pink face, and turned her eyes to Chu Xia. Who is this little sister? Obviously already guessing Chu Xia's identity, and deliberately calling her little sister, the smile on HandsomeMaleLead's face immediately faded a little. This is my third cousin. Sister-in-law 3, Rao Ying repeated, pretending to be surprised, turning her gaze to Chu Xia. I'm sorry, seeing that you are too young, I never thought you would be Zhou Mikang's wife. By the way, you are 18 years old. Sorry, you can't ask girls' age casually, don't you know, since the other party is full of thorns, there is no face to show. Zen team, I'm going back. Smiling at HandsomeMaleLead, Chu Xia turned and left go. You're not very young, but your temperament is not small. I have something else to do. Excuse me. Before Rao Ying finished speaking, HandsomeMaleLead went after her relatives and third cousin without looking back. Still have to peel off half of her skin? Zhou Mikang's taste is really unique, he likes rural girls who haven't grown up, ha ha ha. The young man laughed and hugged Rao Ying. Don't be as knowledgeable as this kind of person, it's important to get down to business first. I'd rather just ask Zhou Mikang, after so many years of picking, how did you pick such a tender potato? How is it better than our Xiaoxiu? The relationship between Rao Ying and her younger sister Rao Shui is very good. He was very happy to hear his fiancée joke about Zhou Mikang's vision problem. Immediately turned around to greet parents. Dad, Mom, hurry up. Rao's father and Rao's mother looked at each other worriedly, and Kikai frowned. The Rao family used to be a well-known family, but with the abdication of the old man, to put it mildly, he was abdicated, but in fact he was forced to step down. The Rao family is not as good as each year, and one generation is not as good as the next generation. As for the youngest daughter's thoughts, they already knew that it was their hope to be able to marry the Zhou family, so they let her go. It's a pity that after many years, the youngest daughter did not win Zhou Mikang's heart. Fortunately, the youngest daughter is still young. They are not in a hurry. After hearing the news of Zhou Mikang's marriage, they knew that their youngest daughter must be put at ease. Unexpectedly, stop. Such a thing still happened. Angry is angry, but after all, she is her own daughter, so she should be saved. But, according to their own ability, it is impossible to fish out the little daughter. I had no choice but to ask Xiao Gang, the eldest daughter's fiancé, for help. The Qiao family and the Zhou family can still talk. After all, no substantial harm was done. I hope that Zhou Mikang can save face so that they can take their little daughter back smoothly. But looking at the performance of their eldest daughter and future son-in-law Xiao Gang, they were really worried. From their perspective, if Zhou Mikang didn't take that little girl seriously, it would be impossible for HandsomeMaleLead to protect her so much. The couple are now worried that if the eldest son-in-law speaks disrespectfully to the little girl and annoys Zhou Mikang, the consequences will definitely not be ideal, but the problem is that Xiao Gang is an extremely headstrong person and will not listen to them persuasive. Although they are elders in terms of seniority, the current Rao family is not a little bit worse than Qiao's family. The eldest daughter is absolutely obedient to Xiao Gang, and she looks down on them. If it was not a last resort this time, they will not ask each other for help. But in the current situation, it seems that the other party is not only unable to help, but also causing trouble. Seeing that they are about to go to the office building, a thin layer of sweat oozes from the foreheads of the couple. If Xiao Gang is not allowed to help at this moment, he will definitely hold a grudge, and in all likelihood will lose his eldest daughter because of this. If Xiao Gang is asked to help, he may do something bad, and will lose his little daughter because of it. In all likelihood, what should I do? Wait, Father Rao suddenly grabbed Xiao Gang's sleeve. Dad, what's the matter? Xiao just turned his head and looked at him inexplicably and asked. Xiao Gang, let your aunt and I come forward first. If we don't have enough face, you can come forward. Seeing Xiao Gang's face darken, Father Rao hurriedly said, I think there is still a buffer. If you come forward all of a sudden, if Zhou Mikang gets into trouble, there will be no room for change. After thinking about it for a while, Xiao Gang's expression became better. Okay, I'll keep quiet for a while. If Zhou Mikang doesn't help, I'll argue with him again. Isn't it worse? Rao's mother hurriedly said, Xiao Gang, what your father means is that you and Xiaoying should not go in first. If we can't solve it, we will come out to find you. This way is better. Dad, Mom, why are you tossing back and forth like this? Don't you find it troublesome? Rao Ying frowned impatiently. If you are afraid of offending Zhou Mikang, then don't go in. Xiao and I just go. Xiao Gang didn't bother to speak directly, so he pulled Rao Ying inside. This is what is called shooting a stone at one's own foot. Rao's father and Rao's mother are now remorseful. The feeling of being unable to get off the tiger is really uncomfortable. When Chu Xia and Zhen Meili came back, the interrogation of Xiao's father and son had ended, and they were being carried out by two tall and strong soldiers. To be precise, they were dragged out, but the bodies of the father and son were still as limp as noodles. Zhen Meili glanced at Chu Xia worriedly, and she hurried over to drag her away, just because she didn't want her to see two bloody scenes. Unexpectedly, she finally let her see it. Chu Xia's expression didn't change. If Zhou Mikang didn't want to be cruel, he wouldn't have to interrogate them himself. It is estimated that the father and son can only live like useless people for the rest of their lives. It deserves it. Who made them think so dirty? Have you confessed everything? Zhen Meili looked at Zhou Mikang and asked. Well, why did you guys come back so soon? Zhou Mikang glanced at the time. Meili, take Chu Xia to dinner, I'm afraid I'll be late to finish my work. Third brother, Xiao Gang, and Rao's family are here, Zhen Meili said, and at the same time she finished speaking, Chu Xia shouted, despicable. So despicable. Zhen Meili hurriedly said, it's quite despicable, but don't worry, third brother will definitely take care of it. Third sister-in-law, let's go eat. Ah, being dragged away by Zhen Meili, Chu Xia looked at her suspiciously. Why? Zhou Mikang glanced at the place where Chu Xia had just glanced at, and understood what she meant by the words she yelled just now, and snorted in his nose, it's really despicable. You two, what do you mean? Now it was Meili or Zheng's turn to be confused. Look here. Chu Xia pointed at the interrogation record, knowing that she is her own daughter, but still allowing her own son to covet her. Do you think this is a human thing? It turned out that she was referring to Xiao Binki's arrangement for Li Xiru to take care of Xiao Yuan. Xiao Binki's confession was that when he arranged for Li Xiru to take care of Xiao Yuan, he had already realized that Li Xiru might be possessed by his son. I can only sacrifice Li Xiru. Beast. Seeing this, Zhen Meili was also very angry. This kind of thing can really be regarded as an anecdote in the world. This kind of people are wasting food, Chu Xia said bitterly, then quickly looked at Zhou Mikang, but don't kill them privately, it's not worth getting a lawsuit for them. Worried Zhou Mikang glared at her, let Meili take you to dinner. I'll go to Meili's dormitory to find you when I'm done. Chu Xia waved her small hand, I'm not hungry, I want to see what Rao's family say. It's obviously Rao Shui who wants to harm me, and she still punches my nose, not face. Zhou Mikang, if you dare to help them, I will absolutely turn against you. Zheng Meili was so frightened that she hurriedly aimed at her third cousin, planning that if she found signs of her mother's anger in the other party, she would drag the third cousin away quickly. Even if she used force, she would drag her away. In the end, there was no anger as expected, but there was nodding in agreement. It really is one thing down one thing. At this moment, Rao's family also came to find him. Qiao Gang was the first to push the door in. He smiled and stepped forward to embrace Zhou Mikang's shoulder. Brother, long time no see, miss me. Zhou Mikang frowned and pushed him away, looked at Rao's father and mother. Hello, Uncle Rao, hello Aunt Rao. Then he nodded to Rao Ying, motioning them to sit down and talk. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 325. The first update arrives, the second update will be at noon tomorrow, and tomorrow's update will be as usual. When Zhou Mikang and Chu Xia returned to the compound, it was nearly 8:30 in the evening. Afraid that Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan would be worried, they went to Wan Lao's place first to order a massage. Sure enough, as soon as the door opened, Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan stood up briskly, with unconcealable worry in their eyes. Have you eaten yet? Zhao Yulan asked. Mom, we've eaten, you, Grandpa, and Dad have eaten too, right? Mr. Wan chuckled, I'm full. It's your father and mother who counted up half a bowl of rice grains. It's almost as good as not eating. Lin Baohe quickly explained, sitting like this all day long, I'm not hungry at all, and I'll be full after eating. I've been sitting for the past few days, and I didn't see you just eating such a small amount. You just don't believe what the old man said. Wan Lao exposed him mercilessly, seeing the two of them come back now, can you rest assured to eat? Having been with Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe for such a long time, Wan Lao treats them as if they were his own children. He loves them and is a little angry that they don't love him. Seeing how uncomfortable Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe were, Zhou Mikang hurriedly made a relief. I'm not full yet, let my parents eat something with me. As soon as she heard that her son-in-law was not full, Zhao Yulan walked towards the kitchen and almost collided with Mrs. Yin, who came out with a hot meal. She was so frightened that she quickly took a step back and said in surprise, Sister Yin, what are you doing? Are you ready to heat up the food? Mrs. Yin said with a joking smile, yes, can you rest assured to eat now? Please reheat it again. I'm so sorry. Zhao Yulan went into the kitchen to serve other dishes while talking, and Chu Xia also went in to help. Lin Baohe looked at Zhou Mikang with some uncertainty, are you really not full? Of course. Zhou Mikang smiled wryly. I was so busy at noon that I didn't have time to eat. In the evening, Chu Xia and Meili brought me a little bit from the cafeteria. My stomach will be empty now. Is this work so busy? Zhao Yulan looked at her son-in-law worriedly, if you are always so busy, how can your body bear it? Mother, don't worry, I'm strong, and it's okay to be busy. Zhou Mikang's father-in-law and mother-in-law asked further, and hurriedly greeted him. Father, mother, let's eat. Okay, eat first, eat first. Zhao Yulan hurriedly helped her son-in-law serve a bowl of rice. Looking at her daughter again, Xia, do you want to eat more? I'm full. Chu Xia waved his hand, hurry up and eat. Grandpa Zhou and Grandma Zhou probably haven't slept yet, we have to go back quickly after eating. Father, mother. When I don't come back in the future, how you eat will be decided how to eat, if you look like this. How can I rest assured? Wan Lao answered quickly, yeah, I'm still making a fuss and want to go back quickly. If I go back, what will I worry about? The couple just smiled awkwardly and didn't answer. Of course they want to guard their daughter, but if they live like this all the time, the name is not right, and they really can't pass the test in their hearts. Chu Xia is also very entangled now. Zhou Mikang is about to go to war. Well, others may not be completely sure about this issue now, but, as she who came from the 21st century, of course she knows that this time is a real war. If I let my parents know about this matter, I don't know what to worry about. As for what happened today, she and Zhou Mikang have made an appointment not to tell any of the elders. Of course, it is impossible to hide things like Mr. Zhou and Zhou Jingping, so just chat with them alone. Including Mrs. Zhou and Lin Yangqiu, try to hide it from them. Otherwise, after Zhou Mikang left, they could really lock Chu Xia at home and prevent them from acting alone. After today's incident, according to Zhou Mikang's original idea, he also asked Chu Xia not to go out to work. After all, although the Xiao family father and son were arrested, there is no chance to come out again, but the faction struggle is always there are people who are not pleasing to the Zhou family. If there is such a thing again, there is nowhere to cry. Of course Chu Xia was also afraid of this kind of thing, but after thinking about it, she felt that if other people wanted to deal with the Zhou family, they really didn't need such indecent means. Moreover, after Zhou Mikang left, she spent most of her time in the hospital and traveled with her friends, so the possibility of placing orders was extremely small. Furthermore, the incident with the Xiao family and his son was simply an accident. She can't just live in the Zhou family's mansion all her life because of this incident, can she? In the end, the two reached an agreement. After Zhou Mikang left, Chu Xia's life would continue as usual, but Zhou Mikang would send two extremely skilled people to protect her. As for who to send, it has not been decided for the time being. He will apply to the leader after he sets off on the expedition. After all, the Xiao family's affairs were placed there before, and the Zhou family has just stabilized. It is not considered that he made such a request excessive. Thinking about her own skills, Chu Xia agreed to his condition. Moreover, it was really for her own good. If something happened, it would be too late. Come on, I have a good book for you to read. Wan Lao poked Chu Xia's arm and walked towards the study. After Chu Xia entered, he signaled her to close the door. Girl, what's the matter? Chu Xia was hesitant to tell the old man about it. If she didn't talk about it, it would be easy for the old man to find out if he wanted to. Tell me. Seeing her appearance, Wan Lao knew that he had guessed right. If you want your parents not to worry, you have to tell me everything in advance. This morning, Chu Xia told Wan Lao about the Xiao family's father and son in detail, including how they have been tortured by Zhou Mikang now, and the fact that Vice Chairman's son came. Wan Lao. Hey, old man Wan sighed, I knew it must be something. Even if Xiaomi wants to prepare for the task, she doesn't need to work overtime until now. After a pause, he looked at Chu Xia. Little girl, you already know that me is going on a mission, right? Yeah, Chu Xia nodded. I see, he told me this morning. What happened this time? It might be dangerous, but no matter how you look at it, he has to go. He is an ambitious kid. Chu Xia, you don't intend to stop him, do you? No. Mr. Wan nodded with satisfaction. You are a sensible child. If you stop him at this time, you will not be able to get rid of the pimples. However, you can rest assured that during the time when he is on a mission, there will be no danger like that of the Xiao family and his son. Chu Xia pondered a bit. Just realized, isn't it? She and Zhou Mikang's authorities were infatuated with this matter. Even if the Zhou family has not stabilized yet, if Zhou Mikang leaves like this, the higher UPS will definitely send someone to protect the Zhou family and others. Moreover, it is still unknown whether Zhou Zikang and Zhou Jingping will participate in this mission, if they do not protect the safety of the Zhou family. Wouldn't it be chilling? I came here to tell you about this matter. Now that you have figured it out, I won't persuade you anymore. Don't let your parents know, they won't be able to bear it. Yet Chu Xia nodded, I think so too. Keep it from them for as long as you can. Xiaomi is leaving this time. Let's say that he is on a business trip, the people from your mother-in-law's side. You have to let them speak in unison. Yet after hesitating, Chu Xia said, Grandpa, I don't want my mother-in-law and the others to know about what happened to me today. Grandpa and father-in-law may not be able to hide it, but for others, I don't want them to know. I don't want to stay at home, I'm only this age, I have to study and work. Zhou Mikang is on a mission this time, it doesn't know how long, I don't want to be a parasite at home. Okay, I get it, I won't tell them about this. Xiao Jing's side, you have to tell me. As for the Zhou family, let Xiaomi do it, don't interfere. Thank you, Grandpa. Chu Xia laughed with relief, with your help, I have more confidence. You. The old man shook his head, others know what you think, and they will definitely say that you are in the blessings and will not enjoy the blessings. You can live comfortably at home, but you still go to suffer, haha. If I'm really just waiting to die like that, Grandpa, maybe you won't be able to see it, Chu Xia said with a smile. Of course, I'm not ambitious, I just want my parents to come here live with peace of mind. If I don't give up, they will always feel inferior. Your parents are so lucky to have a filial daughter. Or thinking of his own daughter, the old man's expression became more sad. He took a book from the shelf and handed it to Chu Xia. Take this book well, or your parents should be suspicious. Grandpa. She wanted to persuade her, but found that she couldn't do anything, so Chu Xia could only smile apologetically, and exited the study with her arms in her arms. Now, she has completely lost this thought. The attitude of Wan Lao's granddaughter that day already explained everything. People would not take her seriously at all. If she really got close to talking, it might make the relationship between Wan Lao and his daughter even worse. If you do bad things with good intentions, forget it. What did the old man tell you? Zhou Mikang asked Chu Xia on the way back to Zhou's house. He's afraid that I'll stop you, Chu Xia said. He really treats me like his granddaughter. Zhou Mikang, I found out that I'm really lucky, really. You just found out, Zhou Mikang snorted, unlucky, can you marry me? Chu Xia. Can this person be more narcissistic? However, thinking about Zhou Mikang's treatment of Rao's family, she felt that it was okay for him to be a little narcissistic, and he did have the capital of narcissism. The elders of the Zhou family didn't sleep either, and when they saw the two younger ones coming back, they nagged a few words with concern. Seeing that it was not early, they retreated. After a day of tossing around, she was indeed quite tired. As soon as Chu Xia entered the bedroom door, she carried her pajamas into the bathroom. The warm water hit her body, she sighed comfortably, thinking of Zhou Mikang's narcissistic words, the corners of her lips curled up, and indeed, if she hadn't married into a family like the Zhou family, how could she enjoy the comfortable hot water everyday bath? You have to know that even the upper middle class families now mostly go to the bathhouse to take a bath. After all, she really made money by marrying Zhou Mikang, especially when thinking about what happened today. The determination in her heart became firmer. After taking a quick shower, drying her body, she changed into her pajamas. When she was about to open the door, she hesitated for a moment before undoing the two buttons on the pajamas, revealing her snow-white neck. Before he opened the door with his hand on the doorknob, his face turned red. After hesitating, she buttoned another button, walked to the mirror and took a picture. It's okay, it's a little bit revealing, not very deliberate, and a little sexy. Biting her lip, she turned around. I opened the bathroom door, only to find that the group leader, Zhaizi, was not there at all. Looking at the time, it's 9:30, maybe I'm going to pour water, or I'm going to report to my father-in-law or old man. Chu Xia was thinking wildly, took the hair dryer, and blowing it on her hair for a while, until she tidied up and lay down under the bed. The head of the tube hadn't come back yet. After thinking about it, She simply took the book that Mr. Wang gave her, and started to read it carefully. At first, she just wanted to pass the time. After reading it, she was really fascinated.